dragons. As I've often said before, chat, the key to not being disappointed in life is having low expectations. Niv, we've tried a few times. We've tried a few times in Pioneer. He's been a little slow and clunky every time we've tried him. I'm skeptical that this build's going to be competitive. Let's play some games. We'll see. The format has definitely gotten more fast and brutal with the introduction of Theros to it, introducing 2 new 2-card combos. Deafening Clarion's a tough sweeper in this format just because one of the premier aggro decks is the green-based aggro deck that has a lot of 4 and 5 toughness things. We do have some Supreme Verdicts in the sideboard, but game 1 we have a tough time racing them, and we're not really going to be able to interact with them. But for places like Lowe's or Home Depot, they will have a place that services broken equipment. That's good to know. And I'm pretty sure we did buy it from Lowe's. And like at the point where we bought it, it was such a big snow. A lot of the snow blowers were sold out there, so I guess we should have just assumed that like one of the few that was left was going to be a bad product. But yeah, I'm gonna have to take the trouble of loading that up and driving it over there, I suppose. It's pretty awkward. Like, I guess we keep this, but like it's a hand that like kind of wants spells, but like also needs to draw another land. Hey, congrats, Misha. Morning, Naya. Hey, I don't know if it's under warranty. I think we've had it for over a year. I don't know how long those things last. I have to go back and dig up the paperwork that came with it. So, Life's Bounty here probably means we're playing against the Heliod combo. This should be a matchup where Deafening Clarion has a text box, so that's nice. They put like a 2-drop out here. I'll probably just Clarion and 2-for-1 them. Blessed Alliance is kind of a sweet, cheeky card in this deck because one of the modes here that's lesser used is untap 2 target creatures. And Dragonlord Ojutai notably has hexproof while it's untapped. So you can attack with Ojutai, and then if they try and play a piece of spot removal on it, you get to untap it. Which is real funny. Second Life's Bounty. That makes it harder to 2-for-1 them with the Clarion. I think I'm going to play Teferi and plus him here. Can you give me a good reason, Carlos, why you can't differentiate that based on when the deck is posted? Like, why can't you just look at the date? But the YouTube title, the titles of my YouTube videos are like already borderline too long. So I feel like making them longer is not ideal. AOS, thank you for the 3 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So I feel like the added value from that is low, and it adds extra confusion. It's information that you could derive based on looking at information that you already have. This isn't even really that good, because, like, Sentinel's Eyes has Escape, so, like, they'll sack this bounty to protect this one. Looks like they're not the Devotion deck, like I said. Looks like they're the Black-White Enchantments deck that did well at one of the PTs last weekend. Morning, Hogwild. Yeah, I guess the big assumption, Carlos, is that like old standard videos don't really have rewatchability, at least in my experience. Curating content, like people don't really go back and watch old standard content. Like standard content gets consumed in like the first couple of weeks and then doesn't get watched again. In fact, most YouTube videos get consumed in the first couple of weeks and then don't get watched again. Just kind of how the platform works. They want to know which standard sets. They want me to say like this is Theros standard, or this is Eldraine standard, or this is Guilds of Ravnica standard. So you could know that at a glance, I suppose. I don't know. And I had someone else suggest that. I just don't think it sounds like extra work that makes the YouTube titles longer, that doesn't really add value because that's already derived information. Yeah, the dates let you derive that info. Nope. Promptly run over. We just bring in all the spot removal spells. This only hits red things, right? Verdict sounds good. Wear Tear is super reasonable here. This is probably a matchup where I guess Teferi bounces and knocks all of the enchantments off, so that's probably fine. Silumgar, Scorn, and Niv-Mizzet both seem pretty medium. Probably want to take some time. One advantage would be search engines. How would that be an advantage? You think people are tipping like Theros standard into search engines? They had 2 creatures in play that allowed them to give each other protection. So when I cast the Clarion, I only killed one of their 2 things. And I just assume that, like, cataloging standard's not very useful because people just, like, look at the dates and see, like, old standard. I'm not watching that. And, like, the question is, like, not can I do it? The question is, like, is doing that extra work, like, does it add value? Like, the things that are being suggested are, like, fine. Like, they do provide some value. It's just, like, is it is it, like, tangible? Is it useful enough that, like, it's worth me spending my time doing it? I trim some of my top end. Can I just cut a land? Crazy to trim dig through time. I'm gonna trim a couple ops. I probably don't have time to screw around with this card. Maybe, like, an opt and a Teferi. Let's try that. That guy certified. Thanks for the 21 months. My girlfriend decided to start calling you Jeff Hoagie. Nothing personal. I kind of like it. Here's another 21. Thanks for the 21. That guy certified. It's funny that you say that. That was some of my dad's friends used to call him that growing up, Hoagie. When he was growing up, stories I used to hear. I think I just mulligan this, right? It just, like, doesn't do anything. Like, maybe the opt find, like, do we trust this opt? Like, if this opt doesn't find interaction, I just die. So probably not. This is fine. Not amazing, but fine. Yeah, some of the non-rotating format, I would imagine people go back further, but, like, especially tagging like standard videos, I just assume, like, standard videos aren't relevant 3 months later. Nope, that was the conclusion last time, Mello. Then someone offered me money to do it again, so listen, if people want to pay me to keep teaching them the same lessons over and over again, who am I to reject their money? When I say something seems clunky and unplayable, that doesn't mean I'm not going to take it again. That just means the next time I take it, it's going to cost more money. Yeah, I got bills to pay. I got a defective snowblower to replace. I will say if they don't ban Inverter on Monday, I'm probably going to be tightening up what Pioneer decks I accept. Just because, like, getting stomped while playing medium Pioneer decks is, like, not a good time. That's fine. I didn't like my spells anyways. Let's grab any card out of our hand here. Seems real good. So long, Clarion. There'll be peace when you are gone. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Do 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 do. Yeah, and even things too like the blue red Eldrazi deck's a good example of this. Just even without Inverter being printed in this format, like even the current opponent's deck is a good example. As Pioneer has more large events and more players are hammering on it with more prizes on the line, this format's going to become more brutal and more efficient if it's not managed. So, like, they have a chance to sculpt how fast and efficient they want the format to be, and things that even felt okay earlier in the format are going to be less and less okay as time goes on, as more people are playing more optimized configurations of things. Hey, thanks for the 2.5 years, Mike the Knight. You're right, that is a long time. Thanks for keeping me around. I think Inverter adds anything to the format if Oracle gets banned, or would you say it's better to ban Inverter? I would just ban the Inverter. I think if you want to leave the combo legal, I think they should ban Oracle and not Dig Through Time. Like, the Devotion build that we played that just doesn't even play Dig Through Time still felt very, very good, and like I was playing a different format. Yeah, relevant Magic-related links are always welcome in chat. That card's pretty good. It's a soft removal for a dragon once we have one, and then, also is a threat that doesn't die to our sweepers. Oracle could be fine in non-combo decks. Yeah, maybe. Oracle's probably not playable outside of combo. I'd be surprised at least. Selection like that costs you a card, has a higher bar. That's fine. I didn't want this Glorybringer anyways. Joke's on you. Thanks for the third of a year spiral. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hopefully we just peel a Clarion here, or peel another Glorybringer would be ideal. Alright, we got 2 Clarions and 2 Verdicts in my deck, I believe, if I recall correctly. 3 Glorybringers. If we rip a Glorybringer, we get to kill this and the Gideon. Another land. It's a good time. Streamdecker has the wrong deck. That sounds accurate. Got here late this morning. Thanks for the heads up. Should be right now. I mean, so like what are the percentages? So like the way delegates work, the way the whole delegate thing works is you can't, like, unless someone has like a significant lead on the popular vote, they can't like guarantee they have more delegates if they're very close in votes, like they're like within you know, a percentage point. Like how much more popular vote does Bernie have? So the trade-off there, Justin, is that discard effects don't cost the person you're taking the card from mana. So counter spells cost you tempo, or cost the opponent tempo, whereas cards like Thoughtseize are technically tempo negative, because a card like Thoughtseize, the person casting it, the person getting Thoughtseize doesn't have to spend a card on it, if that makes sense. I don't even have good attacks here, right? Like, I guess I like kill the Gideon. Well, they have 2 life bounties here, chat, just like protecting their stuff. So like I can't banishing like the brain maggot. I guess like I feel like I'm dead, but like do I like not kill the Gideon? I guess I kill the Gideon, and then I play the Banishing Light, and like make them sack a life bounty, and then like hope I'm not dead, and then like maybe if my draw step and my Ojutai hit are good next turn, we could have a shot. Hey, thanks for the 7 months for turning Dawn. Welcome back. Like I said yesterday, the big takeaway from Iowa that people should be happy to see is that Joe Biden is hopefully DOA. Status quo Joe needs to fade away into the history books. He's been in politics too long, and his ideas are very middling. Nobody wants Joe. I mean, well, that's not true. There's definitely people that want Joe for whatever reason, but I like Status Quo Joe because he has the quote next to his name. He has that quote where he was at one of his campaign fundraisers where he's like, "I promise you, nothing will fundamentally change under my administration," which is just like peak status quo. Status Quo Joe needs to go. Okay, yeah, that does roll off the tongue pretty well, huh? Huh? So like, I needed a live spell there, right? I guess I could technically hit a removal spell and then also drop the Ojutai as a blocker. Probably dead here. So when this hits them, we get to look at the top 3 cards of our deck and take a card. Our deck full of 4 and 5 mana spells died very handily to the efficient aggro deck that had protection. Life's Bounty's been a super impressive card. I didn't expect much from that card looking at the spoiler season, and seeing it break even as far into Pioneer is really neat. Yeah, and just for the record, Justin, I think counter spells are better game design than discard spells, just because counter spells like require both players to make decisions. But discard spells aren't definitely just strictly better. I think they're just more annoying. Okie doke. It's kind of like a much weaker Spellskite. Yeah, and I mean, like, even the lifelink is relevant in places, I think is important to note. I think I just force spiked this. A lot of their big cards have cast triggers, so I think I'm supposed to just, like, cut them off at the pass here. Spellskite, I agree with you, Spellskite's probably a more apt comparison than I've compared it to Mother of Runes a few times, but I think you're right that Spellskite's a better comparison, because Spellskite is often a one-off protection. So, ramp matchup, kind of the archetype that preys on what we're trying to do here. Opponent's deck just goes really big. The onus is on us to run them out of the game because their top end / late game is more powerful than our top end / late game. But the problem is our archetype's just not that aggressive. So like, us needing to close the game out is something we're often going to struggle to do before they actually get to their top end. Little Wolverine, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Thanks for keeping me around. Maybe running bangers will be good enough here. We'll see. The opponent's archetype often plays a whole slew of World Breakers, which have reach, which would be quite bad for us. Although I guess if they don't World Breaker this turn, I can banger into second banger, and then we can double exert the World Breaker for the turn and maybe be okay. That's Cavalier Thorns. Yep. Wow, they missed on a land. That's pretty unfortunate. Okay, so I get to play a Glorybringer and then just stare at them awkwardly. And then, like, next turn, I get to double exert. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to do that, Wolverine. Those Prime supports, I know it's just a little bit of effort for you, but those turn into real dollars for me and keep me around making stuff. I'm glad you enjoyed the YouTube stuff. Thanks for the support. What is artwork? Baby, don't hurt me. This is peak Moto. This, like, random token with no art that says City's Blessing very smally, but then when I zoom in, it has the actual artwork. That if that's not peak Magic Online, I don't know what is. Hey, Demod 3030, thank you for the brand new Prime Support as well. Welcome to Hoaglandia. We did play Red Black Titan yesterday. We played an aggressive version of it, and it really made me want to try the more mid-range build again, so I used my dealer's choice points to throw the mid-range build back into the queue. Alright, so let's exert these and kill this. Oh! We can alliance and untap the dragons next turn, chat. Oh, that's sick. I didn't even think about that. I thought about this with Dragonlord Ojutai, but that's gasoline with Glorybringer. We have the technology. Yeah, I've used Alliance with Ojutai a number of times before, but never with Glorybringer. That's phenomenal. Oh, look, we died. Weird. Strange. Yay. Yay! Cute ideas! Yay! Cute ideas. Ugin. Ugin is where cute ideas go to die. For those of you that are new, welcome to the party. Alright, Banishing Light, because it deals with the World Breaker. For people that aren't familiar with Ugin the Spirit Dragon, he's going to exile our board. He's going to come into play and exile our board, and then still have a giant planeswalker left over that we can never beat. Ugin dumpsters mid-range decks. Ulamog dumpsters mid-range decks. We're kind of mid-rangey, chat. Stuck in the middle with you. Do. I'm drawing a blank now. Was Ugin obnoxious in Standard? Can someone help me out? Were we marveling into Ugin? I feel like we were marveling into Ugin, right? But the issue with that was Marvel, not Ugin. Anyone recall? It's not bad. It's got all colors. It's a control finisher at 1 point as well as in Marvel. Yeah. Phoenix is not the fastest threat in the world, but, you know, it's what we've got, so we'll work with it. Dragonlord Ojutai. Okay, let's counter their spell, and then just, like, draw like, what's our best draws? We draw Bonecrusher next turn, and then we draw Running Lands the following 2 turns. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and counter their acceleration here. There were good aggro decks in those formats, right? So, like, the aggro deck, like, losing to the 8-drop on turn, like, 6 or 7, like, wasn't a big deal, because, like, turn 6 or 7, the aggro deck should have won by then. Oh, this card's just, like, unbeatable, huh? Hey, look, they're a Cavalier Foundation, too. Weird. They didn't ban anything particularly useful there. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Ulamog me, daddy. Ulamog me. You get buried. So not too buried. Enough that I needed to shovel, though. Well, the fact that this deck's a dumpster fire might make up for the fact that I had to start late today. Woof. Woof. I know I famously said these words before, but we're gonna tighten up. We're gonna tighten up what we're gonna be doing in terms of accepting decks moving forward. That being said, I think there's like 20 Pioneer decks already in the queue, so there's probably gonna be some stinkers still over the next couple weeks. Never played an open decklist tournament before. Any thoughts? The only thing that really meaningfully changes is you get to make educated mulliganing decisions game 1. It adds another layer of skill to the tournament in a really meaningful way. In my opinion, open decklist tournaments are a very positive change. What's the best Dragons Pioneer deck? So there is a Grixis Dragons deck up on my website that I think is very reasonable. Getting to play discard spells is okay. Am I still enjoying Pioneer? It's fine. I'm enjoying it less with the addition of... The addition of Theros has made me enjoy it less. They added the 2 new combos that were introduced in Theros have pushed the format in a direction that makes it feel more like the things I disliked about Modern. I don't know that I'd call it bad, but it's like less than what I was liking before. So Alliance makes them sacrifice attacking creatures, so we're going to go ahead and cast this in response to Karizev's trigger so they can't sacrifice their token. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see how they manage it. It could be that they want their non-rotating formats to be more linear combo-based. It could be that maybe they just haven't managed the format yet, and they plan to. They plan to just, like, let these PTs happen. Format is still relatively new. I wouldn't be surprised to see more changes happen. I also think, like, again, as new sets get printed, you have to manage things, otherwise things snowball. When you think of Whirlwind Denial in Pioneer, I think 3-mana counters are a hard sell. I don't think Whirlwind Denial does enough. I think it's very reasonable against the ramp deck we just died to, but outside of that matchup, it's incredibly narrow. Banner Restricted updates happen every Monday. Well, asterisk. Banner Restricted updates aren't scheduled, but if there's an update, the update happens on a Monday. The old post-combat Torbran, eh? Second Bonecrusher Giant. Okay. So, probably just supposed to double stomp that, since I have the option. Yeah, I don't know, Quintoxic Command. I think by the nature of game design and how these formats work, if you don't ban things, these formats always get more linear and less interactive the more cards you print into them. I think that's just a given. It's just kind of how Magic works. Magic's not a game where it's really possible to test for so many different factors. And again, even if you can test for the factors, like let's say Heliod's a great example of this. So let's say you're printing Heliod, your wizards are indeed, you're printing Heliod. You know Heliod's going to create problems in Pioneer. However, or create a combo in Pioneer. However, you really like the design and you want to print it into Standard. So I don't think you should not print cards that are sweet for Standard because they're going to introduce things you don't like into other formats. I think the solution there is you print the sweet thing for Standard and then you just manage the non-rotating format. There's this really awful mindset that I really hate among a lot of Magic players I've found where they seem to think that any use of the ban list is a failure on R&D's parts. And I think that's a completely unrealistic stance to take. I think the ban list is a tool in their toolbox that they should be willing to use to make the game better. This idea that every card ever printed needs to be legal in every format or they failed at their job is nonsense. I agree. I think in a perfect world, their testing team would be capable enough that we would never have to experience bans in Standard. That being said, in reality, where I live, I'm also okay with saying, hey, we messed up. Let's not leave the format bad. Let's actually fix it. All right, so Clarion I think is important to keep in here because giving my dorks lifelink can be good. I don't know that Time Raveler is very good. Their deck has a lot of haste in it. Maybe I just want a couple. Maybe I just want a couple Supreme Verdicts as sweepers. Yeah, I agree with that, Polly. I think the biggest problems with Standard over the last little bit is how long they left things to rot, not the fact that they had to ban things. The fact they had to ban things is whatever. Game design is complicated. There's a lot of variables. My issue with what happened over the last 6 months in Standard before Theros was how long things sat. Deathrite Shaman too, right? Like, Deathrite Shaman's banned in Modern and Legacy, and like, it wasn't playable in Standard. Maybe I'm supposed to keep the Alliance there. I don't know, I kind of want to keep the Banishing Light, because it's a little bit more control over what I'm exiling. And Glorybringer's a good piece of top-end threat here. No play is good for us. Don't have time for that currently. I think I'm going to be a little greedy since we drew the Verdict and play a tapped land here and just like hope they play a 3-drop and I get to Verdict them next turn. I agree with that. I think Once Upon a Time and Veil of Summer were pretty big misses overall, and I think it's offensive that those cards made it to print. BJ Roth, thanks for the 21 months. And honestly, I think Once Upon a Time is more offensive than Veil of Summer. Like, Veil of Summer is at least, like, just a really over-pushed hate card. Once Upon a Time, like, as someone who, like, tends to reserve judgment on cards, Like Veil of Summer is a card where, like, Veil of Summer is a card where, like, I could see they just wanted a powerful hate card and they overdid it. Once Upon a Time is a card that just, like, fundamentally changes how Magic decks are built in formats where it's legal. In a way that's really not ideal. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield, WeMax. Thank you for the 12 months of support. Welcome back. I believe my quote on when Once Upon a Time was printed was, I don't know what this card is pre-ordering for, but it's not enough. And for someone in chat who said everybody knew Once Upon a Time was busted, that's actually very much not true. In fact, if you go back and look at the Pro Tour results or Mythic Championships or whatever the heck we called them, where Once Upon a Time was legal, there were a bunch of people registering green decks without 4 copies of Once Upon a Time. In fact, if you want a really easy way to figure out who has really bad card evaluation skills, I would recommend looking through PT lists where Once Upon a Time was legal and take note of the names of the people who didn't register for once in their green decks. Those are people whose opinions you should take with grains of salt moving forward. Go look at all the people that were like, Once Upon a Time. Yeah, that's a 2 of. Once Upon a Time. Yeah, I only need 3 of those. Those are the people who, moving forward, you should probably be a little bit wary of their card evaluations. Take note. Second banger's great. Little bit of awkward tension here with Silumgar, Scorn, and our expensive dragons. Like, hard to hold this card up while we're tapping out. Yes, and that's exactly correct. Some people make decks and some people play them. There are a number of people who registered less than 4 Once Upon a Time who are much better Magic players than I am in terms of actual mechanical gameplay when they're actually playing the games. Deck building and playing are different abilities. Card evaluation and playing well are different abilities. Hey, have a good run, Seth. Good luck. Okay, so we're actually in an okay spot this game, huh? I get to Banishing... Ooh. I get to play that. So I can't block Goblin Chain Whirler because of Castle Embereth. The PT this weekend is Pioneer again. So for people that haven't kept up with organized play, there are 3 regional Pro Tours every season or quarter or something. I can't even tell you how often they happen because I don't know offhand. But the regional PTs are always all the same format, but they don't all happen in the same weekend. So last weekend, 2 of the regional PTs took place in, I think it was Brussels and Nyaga or something like that. I'm totally mispronouncing the name. Should remember. So two of them happened last week. Then this week, Nagoya. That one. Look at that. I knew it started with an N and an A. Nagoya and Brussels. All right. So then this weekend is the U.S. one. Yes, and PT stands for Players Tours. And then how it's structured past that is the winners or people that do so well in the regional Players Tours then go on to play in the Players Tour Finals, which a better comparison is probably to think of the regional PTs as like a Grand Prix you have to qualify for, with the Players Tour's Final being more comparable to the old Pro Tour. And then only the Players Tour Finals will be more, what's the word I'm searching for? It'll be, the Players Tour Finals will be smaller, I believe. All right, we're on the scoreboard, chat. We're bound to get a game win eventually, right? All right, yeah, 1-1. Let's do it. Don't call it a comeback. How does that compare to the other candidates, Stormy? That sounds like a big number, but I need a baseline. For Bant Calyx, sounds good, CJNJ. We cast Niv and Pioneer. Not yet today, but we have in the past. It's a little bit slow. Reached 35 million in Q4 of 2019. Okay, so 25 in just a month is a large number. Seemingly. Hey, Nazmi, thanks for the 33 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Is Elspeth Conqueror's Death playable in Pioneer? I don't know. 5 mana is like a lot. I think Dream Trawler's super playable, but five mana for a removal spell might be too much, I think. This is part of the problem with like Silumgar Scorn as a card, especially on the draw here. Like, I'm behind because I was on the draw, and I'm like playing catch up with my removal spells. It like never gives me a good opening. Never gives me a good opening to catch back up, really. That was me, actually, Kyle. After playing the list yesterday, I really wanted to give the more mid-range build a try again, so I threw it back in. That's my general opinion on Buttigieg. I think Buttigieg represents a lot of the things that are wrong with politics in Washington today. His pivot on his platform as the primary progressed was something that I'm really not okay with. I'm someone that sent him money at some point that I regret sending him money. I'll suck it up and vote for him in the general if he gets the nomination, but Buttigieg seems like a pretty typical opportunistic politician who's gonna move as the wind sways. When he realized his campaign couldn't beat Bernie or Warren in the progressive lane, he pivoted to being more of a centrist. It's not even that not even just that I have a problem with, like, I don't think now is the right time for centrist policies. We need something more progressive than that. But the fact that he pivoted to being a centrist after realizing he couldn't win as a progressive is something that most people should take issue with, in my opinion. Was that a good draw? This is actual factual best draw in my deck. We had one more copy of Banishing Light. I think I just keep my banger here. Just want to use my mana this turn. Yikes. Yikes. Alright, so they have a Ramanap runes in play. So I have to hope that the top of their deck isn't a land and also not a card that deals me 1 damage. And then we can be okay here. They're dead next turn, so a lot of things kill us. That doesn't, though. Oh, it does though, basically, right? Because we need more hype for Yang. Yang is fine. Yang is someone I've given money to and don't regret having given money to, but Yang doesn't have healthcare as a high enough issue on his list of priorities as some of the other candidates that I support. I also think Yang's just like a long shot candidate, so even if I really did align with his policies, I think that without ranked choice voting, a vote for him is probably like a vote for Yang is a chance that like a centrist gets the nomination, and I like wouldn't want to take that risk. Yeah, before anybody asks why I can't just block Hazard again, it is pay 3 mana, discard a card, deal 2. Yeah, mine too, 9 read. Healthcare, and addressing climate change are the things that impact my children the most, and those are my 2 biggest issues. Yeah, I agree. I feel like Yang in this election cycle has done with UBI what Sanders did with Medicare for All in 2016, which is that he brought something that was relatively unknown to be a a reasonable talking point for people that had previously never heard about it or wouldn't know about it. And I'm glad that he has moved the conversation in the way that he's moved the conversation, which is one of the reasons why I contributed to his campaign. Yeah, student debt. There's a lot of really important things to go on. There's a lot of really important things to talk about, but you gotta pick something that's above the others. And healthcare reform and climate are my 2. Yeah, I'm gonna try one more. Maybe we can find a bad mid-range deck in the 03 bracket. I mean, to be fair, Tulsi's basically a Republican. So I feel like if Tulsi runs as an independent, there's a good chance she siphons just as many or more Republican votes than Democrat votes. This could be the Lotus Field deck. Yeah, Boreal Grazer implies Lotus Field deck, I think. Someone asked what UBI stands for. UBI stands for Universal Basic Income. The idea of it is basically you get a guaranteed amount of income per month just for being a citizen in the country where you live. As an adult. It looks like the Lotus Field deck. Again, we need to run them down, but we don't really have super aggressive tools. The narrative, I'm actually done. Yeah, let's wrap on this really quick. I'm not gonna take another non-Grixis Dragons deck. This is a card that we quickly cut from Grixis Dragons. Just as a comparison, as a really easy comparison, look at this deck and look at the curve. And now let's look at this green-black Stompy deck that we played yesterday. And now compare the curve here with the curve of this deck. And just looking at the curve, kind of tells you how efficient this deck is. And I just think, especially as constructed, this deck is just not nearly efficient enough to be competitive in this format. Well, I think Glorybringer is a super pioneer playable card, and it's good in the right shells. I think this deck just has too much chunk surrounding it. We said too many draws where, like, we've got Glorybringers and Ojutais and not enough other cheap spells to pair with them to really curve out as we head into the mid game, that it just wasn't, that's just not enough. So I think this one was a bit of a miss for me. Felt kind of bad, similar to when we tried blue-red dragons. This one felt really clunky. Yeah, I think that's true too. I think Glorybringer has gotten worse as the format's gotten more brutal and efficient. Like, notably, a 4/4 flying haste does not line up well into Cavalier Thorns, as we saw against the Ramp matchup, and also doesn't line up well against Inverter, like when they play Inverter and don't immediately combo you. But I do think this card is still reasonable. You just can't play 4 Glorybringers and then also play a bunch of other clunky, expensive cards, because this format, while it's a little bit less brutal than Modern, is not play, it's not play 9 expensive dragons slow. It's not play 11 expensive flying threats slow, etc. Sure, the one match we took a game off of was against the chunky red deck. I think mid-range decks like the mid-range red are places where we could probably be a little bit competitive, but even there, we saw some of the tension between Silumgar, Scorn, and tapping out in a really awkward way. Alright, at any rate, we're going to go ahead and dive on into Arena for the rest of the segment today. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll, I get everything switched over. When we get back, we're going to play some blue-white control and Historic to start things off. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.